Hello friends, welcome back to my studio. I hope you're well. I've been working on this canvas today, the one that I spoke about last week that was giving me a lot of trouble, one because of the size of the actual stretcher and a few other reasons that I finally realised were going on with me. It's the one that was loosely based on this landscape. Having another look at this work really helped me see what was going on or what was going wrong or why I was having difficulty. So I thought today I'd just do a bit of a time-lapse vlog showing you this one, and I will talk you through what my thinking process has been and what's been challenging and how I have overcome that. In doing that, I hope that it helps you perhaps assess your own work and can help push you forward with your own practice. I hope you enjoy. So I'm just starting off here by wetting the canvas down so I can make a wash of this first colour. I'm being a little bit precious, even though I know I need to calm this sky down. I'm only beginning with a wash. This mix is the cerulean blue with the unbleached titanium. This video is sped up a little bit because otherwise it would take just so long to go through this. This is a whole day of painting in this session. And so I'm getting a little bit braver, getting a little bit more of that paint on over the sky, and I think you can see it already looks so much better than the way it was. Getting a little bit of that blue mix, the Australian blue gum with the unbleached titanium in, going on the canvas now. It's such a lovely colour, one of my favourite colours, as you've heard me say. Still being a little bit tentative, but at least this is a thicker opaque layer than the first greeny wash, and there I go. That is the mark that changes the whole thing for this next layer, where I've just let go now and I'm really getting paint going. I've got music on in the background, which is really helping me detach from what I'm going to cook for dinner and all those sorts of things that go on in your head, where I'm really just in the flow now, really not having any attachment to where I'm putting the paint so much, just filling in over all of those first layers. And where I spoke a while ago about that book on Turner that I found and wanting to get more atmosphere, there's an example there of a Turner painting. So that's what I'm doing, is putting a lovely light colour in the centre there, trying to create a real highlight and a real patch of very bright light. And this mix I'm putting on here is some yellow with some skin tone in it and unbleached titanium, bit of grey-green in it, and the titanium white, of course, to tint it right off. And so I'm getting a lovely play there between that very pale yellow and the green in the sky area. Now I'm going in with the Venetian red and titanium white mix. I think why I tightened up with this on the canvas, I've spoken about the size of the canvas was a challenge, but I also think just the sheer fact that it was canvas as opposed to paper. Somehow just being on canvas compared to paper, perhaps the cost, the pseudo importance of being on canvas, it can be a real challenge changing from paper onto canvas. It's just something that changes your thoughts, certainly for me, and suddenly it becomes this precious thing. That is already so much better than what I had. I'm absolutely loving it. And of course, taking those risks, being bold, there we go. I'm reinforcing that blue stroke that really started to push this forward. It's so rewarding. And look, now I'm being more confident. It's like, yep, let's get that pale yellow stronger on there. And I think you can see, even though the whole sequence is sped up, I'm even speeding up. I'm really, yep, this is working, this is great, I'm enjoying it, I'm having fun again. I think another reason why I'd initially tightened up on this was that I let go of the play and the experiment of no pressure into this has to be a final piece. This is on canvas now, this is a final piece. And I'd let go of just letting the happy accidents happen and opportunity happen, where I kind of began by trying to finish instead of just beginning to put paint down. The other thing that happened for this was, I changed colour palette very early on, which is okay. That shouldn't have really made me freeze up too much. But the other thing was, I used that new technique of delivering paint to the surface with that cardboard paintbrush and that rough luxe look. And it's strange, but how can I expect when I'm using a technique for the very first time that I'm going to pull it off and then I'm going to be able to make it work? Oh, the pressures that we add to ourselves. Crazy. So there's really not any of that rough luxe look left, but it is on the under layers. And even though there ends up really not, I don't think really anywhere of this canvas that is left with either the first or second layers of this piece on when I'm finished with today's session, it is still part of the history. It is still under there, and it's still speaking even though these layers are over the top. So it's really important to have layers and layers and layers on, even if you can't visually perhaps see them with the naked eye. They're there, they're a felt thing, they inform the layers that go on top. So this is a little bit of this cerulean blue and unbleached titanium. It almost looks green, popping a little bit of that over the blue, which is really looking like sky and cloud. And it's just singing, I think, this canvas now. The other thing that really helped me tighten up and lose it when I was beginning this was the pressure of actually filming and knowing that I'm going to show this to you all, and gee, it better be perfect, it better be worth watching, it better be something. Oh, here's what it reminds me of at the moment. This painting is this Boucher. I love Boucher paintings, the Rococo period, and cherubs, just love cherubs. And who knows, I might even put some cherubs in this piece because it's really starting to look like sky and clouds. And it's just, I'm in love with it again. I'm so happy that I took the risks. But what I was saying was, when you're filming, there is an added pressure of, I'm on display on my skill and who I am really, and that can add really unnecessary pressure. I don't have to show you, I guess, what I film, but it's in my mind that because I'm always wanting to be of value to you and represent and help teach you and help inspire you, that can then take me out of my own practice and in my head. And I think that's another big lesson, is you've got to get out of your head. I certainly have to get out of my head, and it's so easy to pop back into your head. That's the thing. I've been painting for years, and here I am still getting stuck on these points, and that's where, whether this painting ends up a success or not, or whether I end up taking the canvas off the stretcher and stretching up a fresh canvas and trying again, it's teaching me so much. It's reminding me to get out of my head and just be in the moment of adding paint to canvas, paint to page, and what a joy that is, and what a gift that is. It's so important to leave room for the painting, for the opportunity for the painting to become what it's going to become. Try not to put the thought in there too early. The refining stage happens way later. And trying to do that too early will really bring you to a grinding halt. So I've picked up a much smaller brush now. It's very fine, probably about a 1 centimetre head brush. And I'm not really sure why I picked this brush up. It seems very early in the painting stage to be painting with such a fine brush, and I don't normally use this brush, so I am really happy that I'm just obviously still in the play of, hey, what does this do? What mark can this make? Even though normally I would change to a finer brush in the more resolving stages, it's kind of nice to play around with, well, what marks does this brush make? What can this give this painting now? So I'm just using a wet cloth there to take off what I didn't like. I was trying to fiddle around with these shapes and I've decided to take them out. That's another great thing with painting. You can take things out, so it doesn't really matter if you put the paint down and you don't like it. And I'm not sure, I think actually I do like those bits, so I might even be putting those back in when I do the next session on this. But to know there are no mistakes. You can continue layer upon layer of adding and taking out and adding things back in again, and that's where developing your skill and confidence to know I can put those marks back in if I decide they need to be back in there. Tonally, the piece was becoming very similar, so I've decided to put a little bit of this Venetian red straight out of the tube, so undiluted with any of the titanium white, just to give a little bit of depth, particularly there on the what's most likely a horizon line, to take that into the background a little bit more. Also made a conscious decision this time not to paint the sides. I have been painting the sides of the canvas, but just recently I've decided that I'm not a fan of that, and so I'm not going to paint the sides anymore. Well, for now anyway. So the right hand side of this painting, sky, is working really well, and so now I'm just trying to get this left hand side working. I'm trying to decide whether I want it to look like sky. So there's sorry about the angle, it's very hard to have the canvas facing you and where I really need to see what I'm doing. So I thought this looked quite like water here, so I'm just emphasising that by bringing in a little bit of a river type mark where it might be falling over some rock there and coming into the foreground. And because I've got that big globe of light, I'm putting a little bit of reflection into this water here. I don't actually like now how that bit turns out, so I think I'll be taking that out in the next painting session. And there's a little bit more I do to that left-hand side red area. I think I developed it too much. It's interesting in the editing process, going back and watching myself and going, oh no, you've painted over that bit that looks really good. It does look a little bit different, of course, on camera compared to in real life, that you can see more detail and see the colour more true. So sometimes the decisions I'm making do definitely need to be made and changed. But sometimes I get quite upset with myself and, oh no, that was looking so good. I don't know, are you often frustrated watching me paint over things that you've fallen in love with on the canvas? I know that happens with me when I'm watching others. So we're pretty much there now, just a few different, little bit more yellow really is what I add now. So I think I'll just let this run through and you can watch through. I haven't any more to add with that. I think this painting has made a huge leap forward, and I hope it encourages you to really take those risks. If you've got something that's not working, come in and make a really bold statement and see where it takes you. I hope you found this helpful, and I hope you get into your studio and take big risks and make wonderful, wonderful pieces. Thank you so much for watching and listening. I hope you have a lovely week, and I'll see you next week.